Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. Court is in session and calls number 24 CCC Aura 2906. Case is style of state of Texas versus Jose Jesus de Leon. And Mr. De Leon is represented in this case by his attorney, Trinidad Zamora III. And Mr. Zamora, are you ready to proceed?
We are, Your Honor. I would ask that if we wait until my client gets here. He believes that it's at 1:30. We're trying to get him right now.
Oh, okay. We'll hold that.
Thank you.
We're proceeding on the motion to suppress.
Yes, sure.
Okay. Now I have before me a motion to suppress illegal search that was filed by the defendants in this case. And state, would you like to proceed? We can,
Yes, Your Honor.
so we could go either way. If
I
y'all,
believe I'm the, I
He
think,
filed the
yeah,
motion.
I'm
Okay.
sure, Your Honor. So, real quick, what we're saying, our argument is on August 9th, 2024, Sergeant King, Officer Benoit, and Officer Tilley did not have probable cause. At the time they made the arrest, and also they didn't have a warrant for his arrest at the time. So now I believe the burdens goes to the state now to prove that at that time they had met their burden, the officers on the scene. Nederland Police Department, Sergeant King, Officer Benoit, and Officer Tilley.
okay, state.
Your Honor, the state believes that the evidence will show that on August 9th of 2024, that Nederland Police Department did in fact have reasonable suspicion for a traffic stop that led to probable cause for the arrest. The officers were responding to a call of a accident where a vehicle described as a white Dodge Ram pickup truck with front end damage was leaving from the McDonald area of Nederland Avenue, traveling east on Nederland Avenue. Officer King will testify that in response to that call, he was traveling on Nederland Avenue and saw a white Dodge Ram pickup truck with front end damage traveling east on Nederland Avenue minutes after the call came in. He turns around behind the vehicle and sees that the vehicle does not have any tail lights illuminated. This is occurring about 12 p.m. and he makes a traffic stop He has reasonable suspicion for that the vehicle was involved with the accident, and then he has the reasonable suspicion for the traffic offense, makes the stop. He's going to testify that the defendant was the driver of the vehicle at the time of the stop, that he noticed that the defendant's eyes were red, pupils dilated, the strong odor of alcohol coming from the vehicle, open containers all within the vehicle, and that the defendant admitted to drinking alcohol at a bar prior to the accident. Furthermore, Officer Tilley will testify to the conducting these standardized field sobriety tests, and the detection of multiple signs includes of intoxication, and that's the probable cause for the arrest for the DWI happening on a public place on Earl Avenue in Jefferson County, Texas.
Okay. Okay, you can call your first witness,
They call Sergeant King, Your Honor.
Sergeant King.
Sergeant King.
Your Honor, we admonish the witness that he doesn't speak, because earlier I seen both of them together, so they don't speak about their testimony after.
No response, Your Honor.
I think they're on the side, I seen both of them on the side.
In the bureau, in the witness room? Okay,
Thank you.
you're gonna invoke the rule?
Yes.
Your Honor, the final seat from that table, or would you like to go to the podium?
The podium. Um. Sergeant King?
Yes, sir.
Could you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you may put your hand down and you can take the witness stand. You could adjust the microphone and the chair. Mr. Hilton, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Could you state your name for the court?
Jacob King.
And what is your occupation?
I'm a patrol sergeant for the New
And how long have you been with the Nero Police?
about 5.5 years.
And what is your current position with Nero?
Sergeant.
And are you a certified peace officer?
Yes, sir.
And how long have you been a certified peace officer?
Since November
And have you worked anywhere else in law enforcement other than Nero and PD?
no,
And what kind of training and education did you take to become a peace officer?
I got my bachelor's degree in criminal justice from one of the Boston State University in August of 2017. I've been working at the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, but at the jail, it was not the law enforcement side. And I went to the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office Police Academy, and now I'm here.
And in your time as a peace officer, do you have any special training in detecting whether someone is intoxicated?
Maybe, sir.
And what kind of training is that?
We went through the standardized field sobriety test training, in the academy. MAD came in, Mothers Against Drug Driving, and they issued a course where we had to do SFSTs on people that may or may not have been intoxicated.
And so are you certified in performing SFST?
Yes, sir.
And that's the standard field sobriety test?
Yes, sir.
And on August 9th of 2024, were you working with Nero Police Department that day?
Yes, sir.
And what was your position on that day?
I was a patrol sergeant.
Sergeant? What were your duties as a patrol sergeant?
To supervise, I had 3 guys that were on my shift. I had to supervise them, make sure that we're doing the correct things, and that's about it.
And what shift were you working that day?
It was a night shift.
And what are the hours of the night shift?
It is 6 p.m. to 6 a.m.
And were you a certified peace officer on that day?
Yes, sir.
And were you certified to perform SFSTs on that day?
Yes, sir.
And were you working alone that day, or did you have a partner?
I was alone in my car.
But you had 3 people, patrolmen that you were supervising,
Yes, sir.
but they weren't with you in your vehicle.
No, sir.
Were you wearing your uniform and badge like you are today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And where were you at approximately 9:02 p.m.?
I believe I was patrolling the streets near and on Nederland Avenue.
And did you receive a call at that time?
Yes, sir.
Who from?
Our dispatch.
And what was that call about?
There was a hit and run accident that occurred somewhere around the McDonald's area, the 3700 block of Nederland Avenue.
And was there anything particular about that call?
Yes, so they just said a white Ram truck was last seen traveling eastbound on Nederland Avenue from the scene of the wreck.
Okay.
And that there was somebody following.
Was there any other descriptions about the vehicle?
That it had front end damage from the wreck.
And after you received this call, what, if anything, did you do?
I began traveling to that area.
And did you notice anything out of the ordinary when you're heading towards that area?
Yes, sir. I mean, we were looking for the vehicle, of course, and to my surprise, I observed a white Ram truck matching that description with front end damage traveling towards my location.
Okay. And was that coming from the McDonald's area on Nederland Avenue?
Yes, sir.
And what kind of road is Nederland Avenue?
Say a 4-lane roadway. It's a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit zone. It's paved. It's got a stripe down the center. It's got east and westbound traffic.
And is that a public place?
Yes, sir.
And is that within the city limits of Nederland?
Yes, sir.
And is that within Jefferson County?
Yes, sir.
And you said you saw a white Dodge Ram pickup truck, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And is that considered a motor vehicle?
Yes, sir.
And upon seeing the vehicle, what did you do next?
It passed my location, so I conducted a U-turn on the vehicle to get behind it.
Okay. And did you notice anything else of interest about the vehicle after you got behind it?
Yes, sir. It had no working rear tail lamps.
And again, this was probably 9 o'clock at night.
Yes, sir.
And in your training and experience as a law enforcement officer, is that a traffic violation?
Yes, sir.
And what did you do in response to that?
I conducted a traffic stop on the vehicle by activating my emergency lights.
And does your emergency vehicle have a recording device, audio visual recording device on it?
Yes,
And of course, the front of your vehicle,
yes, sir.
and is that commonly referred to as a dash cam?
Yes, sir.
And was your dash cam working properly that day?
It was.
And was it able to make a recording of your of this traffic stop?
Yes, sir.
And have you viewed that video?
I have.
Your Honor, if I may approach the witness.
Yes, you may.
Do you recognize this?
Yes, sir.
And your dash camera system, is it able to make digital recordings?
Yes,
And were you able to make a digital recording of this event?
yes, sir.
And have you viewed that recording?
I have.
And is that a fair and accurate depiction of the traffic stop and the events we're discussing today?
It is.
Has it been altered in any way?
No, sir.
There are offer states exhibit number 1 and proper to the defense.
Your Honor, quick, would I,
Yes,
when was the last time that you seen this particular stick? And when did you see it?
It was Tuesday.
Tuesday? And
Mr.
did you mark
Trinidad.
it anyway?
Mr. Trinidad. Go to the podium, please.
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
All right. States Exhibit 1, just real quick. Now you said you already testified that you witnessed or you watched what's on this Tuesday, right?
Yes, sir. We watched the ball. I can't remember anything on Tuesday.
No, nothing further.
Any objections?
No objection.
No objections. States Exhibit number 1 is admitted.
This is just dash. I think I published for the court.
Yes, you may.
Sir? Yes.
May I stand, Your Honor? So I don't like.
Yes.
Sorry. This is you traveling on Eaterlin Avenue, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Is that the vehicle in question there in front of you?
Yes, sir.
And is that the bumper that appears to be hanging off of it?
Yes, sir.
And there's no lights illuminated in the back?
No, sir.
Were you able to take a photographs of the vehicle that night?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes, you may.
I'm showing what's marked as States Exhibit 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D, and 2E. Do you recognize these? Yes.
I do recognize them.
What are they?
It was photographs of the vehicle that I took after the conduction of the stop.
And are they fair and accurate depictions of the vehicle as you saw it that night?
Yes, sir.
And are those photographs been altered in any kind of way?
No, sir.
Yeah, this time I'll offer states exhibits 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D, and 2E. And I'll.
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, no objection, states exhibits 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D, and 2E are admitted.
And did you approach the vehicle?
I did.
Okay. And when you approached the vehicle, what did you see?
I observed two beer cans in the center console cup holder area.
And were you able to take photographs of the interior of the vehicle?
I'm going to show you, sir.
You are, may I approach?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll show you what's marked as 3A, 3B, and 3C. Do you recognize those?
Yes, sir.
What are they?
They were open containers that were inside the vehicle in the center console cup holder area.
Okay. And are they a fair, accurate depiction of what you saw inside the defense vehicle that night?
Yes, sir.
And have those photographs been altered in any way?
No, sir.
You know, our offer states exhibits 3A, 3B, and 3C after submitting to the defense.
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, no objection, states exhibits 3A, 3B, and 3C are admitted.
And on picture 3A, what is that in that picture?
And I observed the two beer cans in the center console area, and then also a few empty beer cans, as well as and it appears two beer bottles out of a 6-pack that Medella was missing.
And is that from the passenger side point of view?
Yes, sir, that's on the passenger side.
And what is 3B?
That is a 16-ounce Michelob beer can and a 12-ounce Modelo beer bottle that's open
And where are those located?
in the center console cup holder area.
And picture 3C, is that another angle of the same?
Yes, sir.
Here, I'll publish 2A through E and 3A through 3C to the court.
Which is,
The photographs 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D, and 2E.
okay,
And then numbers 3A, 3B, and 3C.
okay.
Was there anything else that you noticed about the vehicle as you approached it?
There were 3 people inside.
And who was the driver? Can you identify by an article of clothing?
Red marine shirt, I'm not sure really what color that in blue jeans.
Not really, the record reflected to identify the defendant.
The record will so reflect that the witness has identified the defendant.
And as you approached, did you smell anything from the vehicle?
I did
What did you smell?
a strong odor of all of that.
And did you have an opportunity to speak to the defendant?
I did briefly.
And when you were speaking with him, did you notice anything about his appearance?
Probably just in one.
And was there anything else about this person that was concerning to you?
He had red in the white portions of his eyes and his pupils were dilated.
And in your training experience, is that a sign of intoxication?
It is a sign of intoxication.
And when you spoke with the defendant, was he inside the vehicle?
Yes, sir.
Did you have them exit the vehicle?
I did.
Why did you do that?
It's more of an officer safety concern. There's 3 subjects in the vehicle. I already know that there's open containers. I've observed them. I like to keep myself safe and also any evidence that can come out of the stop is from within their arm's reach.
So did you have all 3 occupants exit the vehicle?
I did.
And did you have them place them where you could see all 3 of them at one time?
Yes, sir.
Did you handcuff any of them?
I did not.
Were they under arrest when you had them exit the vehicle?
No, sir.
And when you spoke with the defendant, did you ask him about the accident?
Yes, sir, briefly.
And did he make any statements to you about the accident?
You said that they stopped to give information.
And did you ask him, had he been drinking?
I heard, they said they came from somewhere, I just don't.
Were you wearing a audio recording device on your person?
Yes, sir.
And that's commonly called a body cam, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And was it working properly that day?
Yes, sir.
And is it able to make a recording and a digital copy of that recording?
Yes, sir.
And have you viewed that recording?
I have.
And or may I approve?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna use State's Exhibit number 4. Do you recognize that?
Yes, sir.
And you're watching the recording of your body cam. Is it a fair and accurate depiction of the traffic stop from August 9th?
Yes, sir.
Has it been altered in any way?
Yes.
I'll offer State's Exhibit number 4 upon inspection of the film.
Okay, no objection. State's Exhibit 4 is admitted.
You're right, this time I asked to publish for the court.
Okay.
Your Tom Dan Young, 41-6, Tom Dan Young, 41-6.
Yeah, that's the kid, he'll get a bird, so on the right next to him. I step out of it, run off and step out. Right back here. Step right back here. Right back there. Okay. You want to step out too, and you as well. That, exit the vehicle. You hear me? Exit. Exit. Huh? The dog is small and it non accident, responding damage, step out of the vehicle, thank Pennsylvania versus Mims. Yeah, Pennsylvania versus Mims, you have to end your beer on the corner. You got any weapons on you? No. No weapons, not that you down? Yeah. Okay. They face that way, then. So listen to that. And, no. Right here, yeah. Right, I check that down my heart, yeah. Hey, you got any weapons on you? Not at all, I down for you. Just car safety, that's all that. All right, numbers, so right back to the with that. Not that you know, not that it's whatsoever. Alright, so that's good like that. And I heard them. You staying out there with us, was it? Alright. Where's your driver's license, bro? It's kind of wrong, it's interesting, especially you're just involved in a traffic accident along with, you have never worked in. And the other thing, is that, to be, that. That's true. Or even if we want to wonder about leaving. Seven, 0, 2, 6, 3, 5, 7, 0, 2, 6, 3, 8, what are their names? Just the roots. I see a city. No, see as a city. Zeros and zeros. Yes. Well, that's GIAC. I have a research. Yes. Just. Have you ever had a driver's license or anything? Have you ever driver's license running? Yes. I'll take that insurance. That's right. I said to throw it back. You have your driver's license, okay, can you get that from me? You took that out if you don't mind. Yes. Yeah, you have a thank you. Now, what is that for that, you know, McDonald's, I know that much.
Well, we were driving accidentally, jammed, they hit a car, right? So you were going, I said, okay, hey, you good, let me drive. So I'm driving. We got a car. Nothing just went. I started driving after that. That's where you stumbled.
Good. Good on the fair trail. Yeah.
6775181. 6775181. Yeah. 47905222. 47905222. Thank you. Alright, so you hit the car, you said you got out?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, driving, you got out. Just, and it was, like, oh, man. Went to Harry, go out with them. They were just like.
Okay. Yeah. Alright. How much have you had the drink tonight? That's really should the alcohol in the front seat.
Well,
I know y'all all drink, I can smell it as well.
No, we got the, before we went to like,
Barn. You know, if I was there, I'm all there, but it's running out of, big beers. Don't think too strong. Yeah. But, you know, I took it down, hey, chill, I got it, you know, I mean. This one, yeah, sure, I do. Yeah, appreciate that.
Having watched State's Exhibit, number 4, does that refresh your memory about your conversation with the defendant?
Yes, sir.
And did he make any statements about drinking?
Yes, sir. He said he went to a bar.
Did he say how much he had to drink?
I believe he said 3 beers and 2 shots.
And did you perform the standardized field sobriety test on the defendant?
No, sir.
Who did?
Officer Fame Tilly.
Your Honor, I'll pass the witness.
Okay. Mrs. Moore?
Thank you. Hang on just a second.
Okay.
Sergeant King, did you submit any addendums or supplements to the 718 word report that you entered following Mr. DeLeon's being booked for allegedly driving while intoxicated?
Not that I believe.
You don't remember if you submitted any supplements?
I don't believe I did any supplement. That's the report.
Gotcha. Now, you understand what we're here today, right? Challenging some of the evidence.
Yes, sir.
All right. So you initiated the traffic stop, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. What I want to do, Your Honor, is I'm going to publish the first video with
They have to get in the house.
this is that. I can do it.
Oh,
Yeah. You've been with the Needleton Police Department since November of 2019, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, I took a little look at your LSR. Do you know what that is?
No, sir. The top.
All right. Do you know what TCO stands for?
Yes, sir.
And do you know their mission offhand?
No, sir.
All right. And the mission of TCO, or the Texas Commission of Law Enforcement, as a regulatory state agency, is to establish and enforce standards to ensure that the people of Texas are served by highly trained and ethical law enforcement, corrections, and telecommunications personnel. You believe that?
Yes, sir.
All right. And as an agent of Needleton Police Department, you have to be licensed as a peace officer through TCO, correct?
Yes, sir.
Because we got to build this, we got to paint this picture for the judge. Now, LSR stands for the Licensee Service Report, and I looked at your report because I found that people tend to lean on officers making the claim that they know things simply by having training and experience. So your LSR shows you were a jailer, and then You went to the academy at Jefferson County, and then you came here to Nederland, correct?
Yes.
Now, your training and career hours on your LSR shows you have that bachelor's. And then you have course hours, 1,661 the last time I checked. Racial profiling, patrol rifle, SWAT. Even when you're looking at your phone, I think there's a weapon on it. But nothing in the LSR indicates specialized training in your DWI and DWI arrests other than the SFST trainings in your CAT. 8 hours and 643 hours of training. You received a basic, and then you did a MAD thing, right? You said?
Math?
A MAD? I was just drunk driving, what was that?
That was in the academy.
In the academy?
Yes, sir.
Alright. No SFST training, so you're not on a DWI task force, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but nonetheless, the Fourth, the Fifth, and the 14th Amendment of our US Constitution must be adhered to by government agents such as yourself, detaining and ultimately arresting hardworking citizens, right? That's what's at stake here, right? For the Fifth, 14th.
I would say it's just hardworking citizens that, is that what you're saying?
We'll move on, we'll move on. Let's start with the work product you produced for the people in Nederland on this day. You're out here saving babies August 9th, 2024, correct?
Yes, sir.
You hear some radio traffic and accident, someone left the scene in a white Dodge pickup. Correct? And they got somebody telling them.
Yes, sir.
All right. You're traveling on Nederland westbound.
Yes, sir.
You see a pickup matching the description, the vehicle is traveling eastbound.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, remember, the only evidence the court can rely on is what your investigation produced on that evening. We cannot start to produce facts that weren't captured in this report, because you would have submitted a supplement. You did it, correct?
That is my supplement.
Okay. I mean, it's part of the offense report or something.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, you're held to a higher standard, right?
Yes, sir.
You get paid to get it right.
Yes, sir.
And what does NHTSA stand for?
Do not know the exact abbreviation. It's a,
You, all right, fair. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. That sound,
that's
Right.
probably right.
you were saying Pennsylvania bans earlier, so I'm just trying to see if you know the law and what you're supposed to do.
It says
Okay.
motor vehicle.
So now, do you know their mission?
I-
Okay, now their mission is to save lives, prevent injuries, and reduce economic costs due to road traffic crashes through education, research, safety standards, and enforcement. That last one, I think, is where you guys come in, correct?
Yes, sir.
So now NHTSA is a treasure trove of resources for people like you out here doing your thing to assist DWI investigations. You're aware of that, right? They have lots of resources. They have different type of manuals. Right?
I'm sure.
Sure. Yep. Yes. Now, Sergeant King, what are the 3 phases of a DWI detection process provided to you by your training and experience? You know, phase 1?
That's right.
All right. Phase 1, the first phase, so you know, in the DWI detection process, in this phase, the officer observes the vehicle in operation, determines whether to stop the vehicle and observe the stopping sequence. All right? All right. So I'm going to go ahead and push this play real quick. I'm going to watch this video. Please watch it with me. And we say fine. All right. What I think just happened is the vehicle just passed us, right? Let me move past. Yeah. Give me a sec. What I want to show the court is when when you're passing these vehicles, the headlights are on. Sit on top of vehicles. Exit out. So we're phase one, vehicle in motion. We have to lean on your understanding here. Looks like everybody's lights are on, right?
Yes, sir.
Hit it. You're traveling through 21st Street. You're catching up. Awesome. Okay. Now, here we have one white vehicle, a pickup truck. In the left-hand lane, you got another one, looks like you're coming up on. And the the right-hand lane, which looks like another white pickup, correct?
Yes, sir.
Hit it. Okay, now we have a white pickup and you're on duty, right? So you're supposed to detect crime, right? That fella in that white truck right there just crossed that line. Did he use his blinker?
Not that I'm sure.
Okay, and that's one of the reasons why you pull people over, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, right here on this little bump, you can tell that the headlights are on, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you see that piece of, it isn't the bumper, it's a piece of that quarter panel that's plastic in nature or fiberglass, right?
I mean.
Something.
It's something.
Yeah, something hanging off. All right, and you think that's a danger to society?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Keep it in, get it in. You light them up. Is he using his blinker? Are you watching the way he's driving like they tell you you're supposed to? All right. Now, in NHTSA, what I was talking about, see, there's another little resource, it's a 20-page booklet. It's called The Visual Detection of DWI Motorism, because that's what we're here for, is a DWI. Were you aware of that booklet? Okay. It's thin, it's like a third of a piece of paper, to minimize the space so officers can take it with them. So. And it helps with protecting those three amendments that we were just talking about. Due process. So this booklet contains 24 cues. Law enforcement officers should be on the lookout. This is from the book. Those cues are presented in the following categories. Problems in maintaining proper lane. Number 2, speed and braking problems. 3, vigilance problems. And 4, judgment problems. Back to you driving on Needleman Avenue. You see the vehicle similar to the one being described on the radio, right? The truck's headlights are on. I mean, the one that we've seen not uses signal light.
Yeah, I believe that was similar. I was looking for a white Dodge Ram.
Okay,
To show you some positive.
we'll split hairs here in a little bit. I'll split hairs with you in a little bit. So. One second. And you watch these videos on Tuesday?
Yes, sir.
So now he's pulling over. Hit it one more time.
32.
But you know, the person that was hit, his vehicle is still on the roadway, can't get in.
Now, phase one. Supposed to be vehicle in motion. Was there any weaving?
No, sir.
All right. Was there weaving across the line?
No, sir.
All right. Straddling the line,
No,
a
sir.
lane line, or a lane, yeah, a lane line. Drifting,
No, sir.
swerving,
No, sir.
almost striking a vehicle or other object.
No, sir.
Okay. Turning with a wide radius or drifting during a curve.
No, sir.
He didn't hit the curb at all, did he?
No.
You used the signal light on, the signal? So there was no stopping problems, no varying speed, correct? He immediately responded to your red and blues.
Yes, sir.
And one of the cues is failing to signal a turn, driving in opposite lane, driving without the headlights at night, but doesn't say anything about taillights, because we don't know if that's a mechanical problem issue, right? We don't. It's not an intoxication issue, do you think?
On his face, no, sir.
All right. So you didn't see any of those driving cues other than the tail, correct? All right. So that means, and he pulls over, and now we're going into phase two. Do you know what phase two means, or it's about?
I didn't.
No?
No, sir.
All right, it's called personal contact. This is where it gets kind of a little murky, okay? Because there's a situation in the video that they've already entered, which I'm gonna show here in a sec. You get out of your vehicle after you call in the license, correct?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I'm gonna go ahead and place the body cam footage for Sergeant King at this time for clear, make sure the record's clear. Reduce that.
I had a reference.
So personal contact, the second phase of a DWI detection process. In this phase, the officer observes and interviews the driver face to face, determines whether to ask the driver to step from the vehicle, and observes the driver exit and walk from the vehicle. That's what's in the NHTSA manual. Would you agree with that?
If that's what it says, yes, sir, I'm not familiar with it.
All right. Okay. Now, you testified that you made all these decisions based on the conversation you had with Mr. De Leon when you got to the window. Remember that?
Yes, sir.
I push play and let's get to right before you tap on the window. For purposes of the record, the states exhibit number one, and we're at 39 seconds into the video, and on the video it says 21:05:38. So
You know, the person that was hit, his vehicle is still on the roadway, can't get in.
So you're telling the court that you've seen from that angle, because we can, is this body cam like on some arm that's different than off your chest? Okay, so you're saying that to the court that at this time you see the two or alcoholic beverages at this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Hey, step out of here.
So that, I think I measured it one time. I think it was 4 inches down. 'Cause we have a truck similar to that. 4 inches down when you tell him to step out of the vehicle. So that conversation that you told the court that you had making these determinations about his eyes being red, about slurred or maybe his speech, you made that determination by the time this window was rolling down?
No, sir.
All right. Now, are you considered the wheel witness in this situation? Or did you have one on scene?
I would say I'm observing them in the driver's seat right now.
Okay. Was there a wheel witness? Did you describe one on your body cam footage?
No, sir. I believe that the witness talked to me afterwards, but he said he's observed the wreck in the vehicle leaving.
Okay. And that's how you made a determination that this particular white pickup was the one that was involved with him,
So yes, sir.
Brian McKeever?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So okay, just before you tell him to step out, is it policy to identify yourself, maybe?
No, sir.
No? Okay.
Burn it off and send it out. Right back here. That's right back here. Right back there in my car. Okay. You go ahead and step out too.
So,
And you as well. Now exit the vehicle. You hear me? Exit. Exit. Huh? There's already some involved in the hit run accident, there's front end damage, step out of the vehicle, okay, Pennsylvania versus NIMS. Yep, Pennsylvania versus NIMS, you have to, and there's beer on the car.
Pennsylvania men's flag.
I'll be guessing for a second. Oh, that's really 1976.
77. Mercurium, right? Mercurium. So, go ahead.
You got any weapons on you? No weapons, can I pat you down? Yeah. Okay. Stay close up, please, then. So listen to that. Now, no. Step right here, definitely. That one, step right in front of my car, yeah. Okay, you got any weapons on you, bro? Not at all. All right, can I pat you down real quick? Okay. Just for our safety, that's all. That. All right, now just go right back there with him, okay? Not pat you down, no weapons at all whatsoever? Okay.
Okay, so now, these kids, you already patted them down, right? If any of those guys had a cigarette right in your face, what would you have told them to do?
I would have asked them to put it out.
All right, hit it.
And so back to the wall, okay? All right, have you got, right here. Stand right there with them. Can you stand right there with them, just it, okay. All right. Where's your driver's license, bud? All right, reason for the stop is 100% the suspicion that you was involved in a traffic accident along with you have no working record accident. That's, can you take that back? Can you take it up? Action.
So, right here, what the court's seeing is that you've taken his driver's license, right, in possession?
Yes, sir.
Is he free to leave?
Yes, sir.
Currently being detained for an investigation.
Yes, sir.
And the investigation for what? At this point?
Run at that point,
Good run.
and traffic violation of the no tail lights.
Got you, but no, other than the beers in the center console, that's what you had, right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I'm not to read the vehicle on the top of then I know we need it, but 17 to 30, yeah, I just one more. Yeah, all right. 4702-6280, 4702-6280.
You run his driver's license, do you remember did it come back clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. What was your name?
Now, you're talking to another individual that was inside the truck, right?
Yes, sir.
And this is the kid that kind of questioned you as to why he had to get out the vehicle, right? Right. And he had every right to question you, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that's when you threw out the Pennsylvania man's bomb?
Yes, sir.
All right.
What's the news? Not here, so that last time.
DIAZ, you heard him?
I see a.
Z is in zebra.
Zeus and Zebra, yes. I already seen the I haven't been from shit. Yes,
It's been funny names, huh? That'll get you every time.
There's right.
Justin Lewis. Have you ever had a driver's license?
Have you ever had a driver's license, right? Because in your experience, is there individuals like him that don't have?
There is, but sometimes people lie about their name and date of birth.
Got you.
So we
Like you ever drive a license wrong?
You see his look like, why is that? That's a crazy part. You seeing his look? Those things matter, don't they?
I didn't see it.
Okay. Your tone matters, right?
I sent to the back. You have your driver's license? Okay, can you get that from me?
I think that's something. All three of them had a driver's license. That isn't usually the case, is it, in Netherlands?
Most people have a driver's license.
Ready for if I get one.
Can you take that out if you don't mind? Yes. Yeah, you have a No,
At this point, do you have probable cause to arrest anybody?
No, sir.
You have possession of all their driver's licenses, right?
Yes, sir.
Are they free to leave?
No, sir.
what exactly happened today, you know, at McDonald's, I know that much. We were driving accidentally, jammed.
So him, who do you think he's describing? Himself?
I don't.
I'm sorry?
I don't know who.
Did your investigation flush that out?
I don't believe so.
You're the leader, you're the sergeant on the scene, right? And it goes from officer to sergeant. I made sergeant, I think in '99.
Yes, sir.
So officer to sergeant. So you're the head cheese here, right?
Yes, sir.
So you have to flush out this investigation. This is what we're paying you to do.
They could have fired that. We were driving accidentally, jammed. They could have fired that. I said, okay, good, did you drive?
What did you say there?
He said somebody asked if he wanted to drive.
Are you good? I asked him, are you good? I'll drive, right? That's what he's saying, he's gonna drive. You know when that happened?
No, sir, I did not.
Did your investigation flush that out?
It did not.
I'm driving. I didn't hear the question.
And that's where you got us. I started driving, that's where you got us, right?
Yes, sir.
Meeting on car. Nothing. I started driving after that. Now where it's done.
Was any of that hard to understand?
Yes, sir.
What part?
I still don't understand it, to be honest. A lot of background noise.
Yeah. If the camera picked that up, I'm sure it was out there the same way, right?
I'm not necessarily.
Anything that's in your favor is not necessarily.
On the vehicle with the 50-minute water meter limit is Tom Samuel Young, 4150. Just for our safety, that's all that.
So that's on the line. Then for January. They'll go around. Istanbul.
Good. Very on the clear around. Yeah.
6775181. 36775181. Yeah. Yeah. 47905222. 47905222.
All right, so you hit the car, you said you got out.
Yeah. Okay. You know, Johnny, get out. Yes, sir.
He hit the car and he got out, right?
And they was some. They gone, man. It's a daddy, one of those days. They were just.
Yeah. How much did he have the brakes tonight? I mean, I really should have alcohol in the front seat.
Hell,
Yeah, I
no.
know he's all drinking, I can smell it as well.
Yeah.
So he admitted to the drinking and you could smell it, right? He testified, there's 3 men in there. Do you think the breathing when they opened the door, opened the window and it walked out when you were telling them to step out? Could you designate where the smell was coming from? From anybody or just the cab of the truck?
It was coming out of the vehicle.
No, we got the, before we went to, a barn. Okay, fine. We trying to have like 2 shots.
3 beers and 2 shots. Do you know what the time frame was what that was? It's 9 o'clock, right? Not 12 o'clock. As we were told. It's 9 o'clock, right?
Yes, sir.
These boys look like they were just coming out of work.
I can't tell.
Those questions don't matter, do they?
But, you know, I told you, hey, chill, I got it, you know, I mean.
So who just walked over here this way?
That was Officer Jake Benoit.
Benoit, right?
Yes, sir.
Now Benoit, he arrives with Officer Tilly,
Yes, sir.
and was Benoit, an FTO that day? Was he assigned as an FTO?
Yes, sir.
And can you explain to the judge what an FTO means?
It's a field training officer, when we have somebody that's either comes from another agency or is a recruit out of the academy, they have to go through field training with the field training officer.
And how long is that training?
It depends if it's a person with experience, it's shorter than somebody that's fresh out of the academy with no control experience.
Do you have any details on that?
No, any details to.
All right. Benoit has a small conversation out of, because there's so much sound, but we can't hear what Benoit tells you. Do you remember what he was saying?
That he was far away from this call when it came out.
And that he had Brian McKeever behind us, right?
Okay, I can't hear it.
Because as soon as this happens, watch what happens next. What did you instruct Benoit to do right there? You remember?
I just said that was the driver.
Okay. Well, so you didn't direct him to do any SFFTs? So you just left Mr. De Leon, just last question and then burn off?
Yes, sir.
Where are you going to now?
I believe I'm going to speak with you.
And what's interesting about this is. So purposes of the record, the video depicting Sergeant King's body cam footage at 21:12:37 or 7 minutes and 38 seconds into the video. I paused it. Do you see your shot or your vehicle?
Yes, sir.
Is it marked?
No, sir.
And maybe that's why McKeever didn't use his signal light, right? He didn't realize that you were a cop.
Possibly.
Well, you're making all these conjectures for my client. I was wondering if you were making them for him. Where are you walking to now?
The witness's vehicle.
No, I'm Sergeant King with the New York Police Department.
What'd you do right there? You called him Bud, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you know him?
No, I'm just friendly with people.
Were you friendly with my client?
He was suspected of committing a Class B misdemeanor. I don't know if I was the nicest person in the world.
The presumption of innocence covers us all, right?
Yes, sir.
Even you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Safety concern.
So you introduce yourself, you call him Bud. What was happening?
You said you saw everything? Yeah, right.
So he saw everything, yeah. That means he's who in this particular investigation? Which one? The wheel witness? 'Cause we're gonna listen to his story. You shake my client's hand?
Yes, sir.
Is it one of those good old boy things? Now, what did he try to do there? Because what I believe, what I'm trying to establish is your biasness in the investigation. There's two things when you're in law enforcement, integrity and then loyalty, right? And he plays on your loyalty, right?
No, sir.
My dad used to work for you for 40 effing years. Is that a cigarette in his hand?
I believe so.
Is that a tactic that some DWI or people that may be familiar with DWI detection processes? Is that a tactic to mask certain smells?
It can be.
Yeah, everybody else needs to our so, yeah, so what you did, passenger right there, the front passenger. You know, I'm sure, but not in front of them, okay? I would be smoking thing and do for mine, probably great, yeah, we got all that.
You see him, Mr. McKeever has his seatbelt on?
Did he get out at all and stop the ring and talk to the people? No. I saw it in my rear view, I thought I did.
Saw him in the rear view mirror and I thought I hit. You want me to run it again? Did you hear what he said? Did you hear him that night? Or was there too much background noise?
That's hard. So I put on chill, okay? Stop the ring and talk to the people. No, fuck. I saw it in my rear view. I thought I did. That's hard. So I put on chill, okay? The car that got hit was coming through the stop sign. He stopped. And he was coming through, so I punched to try to.
He stopped and he punched it, right? We don't know how the diagram looks, right?
Yes, sir. I don't know.
And the next thing you know, he looks in the rearview mirror and he thought he hit the vehicle. When he hears boom, correct?
That's what he said.
Okay.
Not here. And I look back, I see that car back there is small. But when I took off to get in front of him, there was.
When I took off to get in front of him, the person that had the vehicle accident, right? What I would discern from that information. There's a possibility maybe he caused the accident?
I don't believe so.
Your investigation didn't prove any of that up, right?
I didn't go over there to observe any of the vehicles.
You didn't go to the scene?
No, sir.
He ran that stop sign from the. But I'm sure you're not in trouble lot, right? I don't be smoking thing and big for a long time, right? Yeah, you know all that. And so, did he went out at all and stopped the ring and talked to people? No. But I saw it in my rear view, bam, bam, I thought I did that far. So I put on chill, right? The party guy, he was coming through the stop sign. He stopped. And he was coming through, so I touched to try to hurt him, get in front of him, and I hear, bam, and I look back and I see that car back there is off. But when I took off to get in front of him, there was no truck, that truck was not at the intersection yet.
That's your wheel witness, right? When he looks into a rear mirror, he does not see a truck. Correct?
That's correct.
And that's King's English, right? There's no Spanish, accent or anything like that. That's King's English. Gotcha. That's that good old boy English.
That's okay. So I tracked him, I saw him coming, I punched him, and I started looking back forward. That's why I heard bam. And I see my rearview there, not him. So the only thing I can think of, since I did not see that truck at the stop sign, he
He didn't see that truck at the stop sign. He immediately followed the boom.
and that stop sign told for underneath over. He took off and I stopped, back to go figure out, go back and chill, say, hey, look, listen. Did you take off? Yeah. I said, was it a white Ford?
Well, how did you describe it?
Sir?
How did he describe the vehicle that he thought it was?
You said you saw it traveling away from the race.
I know. You didn't hear what make it? Let's go back.
That he got out. That's not good. He ran that stop sign coming from underneath over. He took off and I stopped, back to go figure out, go back and chill, say, hey, look, listen. Did you take off? Yeah. I said, was it a white Ford? He said, no, white rail. I took off. So I see about five of them. And a little bit where you don't want to talk for us yet. I don't often, you good, your description and everything, say front end damn, I should get tops.
Used to be a cop, right? That's more of trying to gain your loyalty, right?
Yeah. Well, they would get right behind it. We rode out the sheet, I said, oh yeah, that unmarked is, okay.
Watch what he says next. Very
It's enough, yeah. But, no, Ron, appreciate it. He got your number and all that. This is what that's good.
What did he say?
I couldn't.
Okay.
Pretty, yeah, body camera on.
He looks at you right at your body cam. Is your body cam on, right? Kind of in a damn. I just said what I said.
I didn't hear.
You watched it Tuesday.
Yeah.
I asked you in the witness room if you watch the videos, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You're out in front.
You told him to put out a cigarette that he's blowing in your face?
Yes, sir.
Why not?
I'm just speaking to a witness.
But anybody that you would talk to as a witness, like you said earlier, you would tell them to put out, or was it because it's McKeever?
Anybody that's a suspect, I ask them to put out the cigarette as it could be a weapon. This is just a witness that I don't believe any criminal activity is going on in the presence.
That's a lot of words. This is an investigation, right?
It is.
We're trying to find out who the culprit is in the situation, right?
Sir.
This man has just told you that he believed he hit the car. Am I correct?
No, sir.
The court can decide, they've heard the video.
Number every time, he just told me, hey, something, so.
Did they get your name and number or anything like that? Nah, he just told me to hang tight. Rather than having it ready for you, because he's been a police officer and his dad has been a police officer for 40 years, right? He probably knows a little bit about due process. It's kind of reluctant.
Driver's license on. Yeah. Yes, sir, I'm just adding, I'm just adding information, sir. I think all the, something. Yeah. 142.3, southbound 07, 142.3, southbound 07.
Daddy's puffing on that cigarette, right? Less than 2 feet from your face. Correct?
Yes, sir.
You've shaken his hand, you've taken his driver's license, you wrote down the numbers.
Right, there you go. Thank you. Let's see what's on the 409. Right there. 960 road. 9748. One, two.
He's kind of tightened up after you told him your body cam footage was on, or your body cam was on, right? He's not as friendly.
I don't know.
Of course not.
All right. We're all good to go, man. I appreciate it. Well, long as a witness and everything. Supporting that, they'll get my hair. I must have pulled off on there like we checked his truck. And never saw that it was in the block back there. So I asked him, I was like, I see it off there for the pop up there. That's it. And, you know, but he didn't, you know, yeah, if I would have found him. Yeah, I knew he wasn't gonna stand there and that'd be terrible. I didn't think he would, but I was coming in this direction, so. He hits the back road, but circle right back around. That's where I found him. Okay, anyway, all right, I appreciate it, bud. Thanks very much, man. Appreciate it.
What's happening right here? In the background,
That's he is performing standardized skills for tests.
and that's phase what?
I'm not familiar with that.
But we're doing a DW investigation, correct?
Sure.
All right. I'll explain to you here in a sec what that is.
That's the wrong page. 17-19.
And from this vantage point, you see, I stopped it at 11:28 in this exhibit on Sergeant King's body cam footage. You see two parking lines right here? I'm pointing at right here.
I can't see that from the symbol. I'm sorry.
There's some right behind you. There's a traffic line where I have the pointer at,
Yes, sir, he's parking so.
and there's another parking line right here, right? And you got Benoit here, or no, Tilly here and Benoit here, correct? You know? If you don't know, just
I can't tell with that blurry.
That's it. Or mother, I got you out here. That after you were doing a 55 investigation right now. We can leave them.
what kind of investigation were you doing?
A intoxicated driver investigation.
All the information they need. Okay, then you're gonna be clearing out of here, you're gonna hang around. Okay.
Now pause it where it's a little clearer. Can you see if he's on the traffic or the parking line?
Yes, sir.
Is he on one?
No, sir.
Does it look like that cement and all that stuff's super smooth, or does that look like it's probably, that cement's been around a while, huh? If it's not asphalt?
Probably been around for a while.
It's chewed up. You can tell where it's uneven and rocky, correct? It's kind of losing its dexterity, I guess, on the top.
I can't tell from you.
Can't tell. Got you. But nonetheless, he's doing part of what's phase 3 right now in your body cam footage, right?
If that's what phase 3 is, yes, sir.
How many SFST session or how many times have you administered the SFSTs?
Very good many a times.
Very good many a time. What does that mean?
That's of this team with multiple people, in my experience. I don't have an exact number. I'll say
One of your classes that you took in the academies is report writing, right?
yes, sir.
And you need to have specific articulable facts, right? So it's clear to the court or any of the fact finders what you did that particular night.
Yes, sir.
Did you make mention of anything about the SFSTs in your report or in your supplement, as you said?
Not that I'm familiar.
But you're there watching them, correct?
I don't think I was watching them, yes, sir.
You said how many officers did you say you were supervising?
That night it was 3.
3. And as a supervisor, I remember when I was sergeant, you're supposed to be the guiding light for individuals that are lower rank, right?
Yes, sir.
You're supposed to be witnessing. How long had Benoit been on the force?
I don't know his exact years of experience. He did time at other agencies as well.
Got you. How long had Tilly been on the force?
May of 24, maybe.
Right.
Did a lot too.
Got you.
But, what you see on there?
He is the one that told me. So who was he speaking about?
Mr. McKeever.
Okay. Did you happen to see him out there in the witness room?
No, sir.
And since you're the super, is there a lieutenant on duty at night?
No, sir.
Okay, so you hit.
Yes, sir.
I can remember being the duty warden on the maximum security penitentiary as a captain. You're it. So you have to guide these people, these newly minted officers, new boots. That's what they call them sometimes, right?
Yes, sir.
So you're supposed to guide them in these murky waters because we're infringing on those 3 U.S. constitutional amendments.
Yes,
14th, 5th, 4th, all that jibber jabber, right? But you knew Pennsylvania Sims,
sir.
but you don't know if phase 1.
I'm not familiar with the NHTSA handbook on SFSTs.
You just said you were an expert to the state with regard to this or SFST. Do you remember that?
I do not remember saying I was an expert on any.
I do. So, at this time, do you have probable cause to arrest?
No, sir, I'm not performing the SFSTs.
But what you've witnessed, shouldn't that be part of? I mean, they weren't there the entire time.
Yes, sir, I had suspicion that he was intoxicated and the SFSTs confirmed the suspicion.
But you didn't witness the SFSTs.
No, sir.
And you don't know how long Benoit's been administering the SFSTs.
Officer Tilly was.
Or Officer Tilly, sorry. And you don't know, I don't know how many number. It isn't close to a lot of number of SFSTs like you, right?
No, sir.
So it'd probably be wise for you and Benoit to really watch to see if these SFSTs are administered correctly, am I right?
Generally, yes, sir.
Okay, and you believe in Benoit so well that you would put your badge on it, that they were done correctly, right?
Yes, sir.
Because what you're trying to do here is to label my client a criminal, right?
No, sir.
What we've seen with your body cam footage, it's a little different when, I believe, when the melanin is a little different. When Brian McKeever,
This has gone on way too long. He's accusing him of things that are not relevant to in this case, he's making, accusations of attacking that are not supported by any of the facts and evidence.
Okay,
Your Honor, Sergeant King's integrity is on the line here. So we're all here seeking the truth of the matter, so I'm not loyal to him or taking an oath. I did not witness this, so I'm trying to get it. I mean, I'm supposed to evaluate to see if he has any bias, so that's why I'm asking.
okay. Well, I've been just sustained objection. You can move on.
Thank you. So do you have any other interaction with Mr. De Jong?
Not that I'm,
And then you arrest the two other individuals for public intoxication, correct?
yes, sir.
Right. And you made that determination?
Sir, then I did.
You pull them out the vehicle.
Yes, sir.
Rather than allow them to call somebody to come get them, you arrest them for public intoxication, correct?
Yes, sir. They didn't have anybody on scene that.
Pass the witness, John.
Okay. Hey, Mr. Hilton, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. You were responding to a call from dispatch, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And the call was that there was an accident by the McDonald's on your own app, that occurred. Okay, and were you given a description of a vehicle?
Yes, sir.
And you were told that vehicle left the scene of the accident?
Yes, sir.
What was the description you were given of the vehicle?
It was a white Dodge Ram pickup truck with front-end damage,
And were you told where that vehicle was traveling?
eastbound on the Hero Mountain.
And did you see a similar vehicle on Nero Avenue?
Yes, sir.
And how long after you got the call from dispatch did you see that vehicle?
I don't know the exact time, but I was right there in that area.
Couple of minutes or an hour,
I got a minute or two, yes, sir.
minute or two? Okay. And you were traveling on Nero Avenue? And you saw a white Dodge pickup truck
Yes, sir.
and it was traveling east on Nero Avenue? And it had front end damage,
Yes, sir.
just like what you were described from dispatch,
Yes, sir.
okay? And so you turned around and followed that vehicle?
Yes, sir.
And what did you notice about that vehicle?
It had no working tail lamps in the back.
So the vehicle matched the description of what you were told, the vehicle leaving the scene of an accident, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you noticed a further traffic violation,
Yes, sir.
and so you stopped that vehicle,
I mean,
okay? Did you see who was driving the vehicle?
yes, sir.
The vehicle that you stopped, that matched the description from leaving the scene of the accident?
Yes, sir.
And was that the defendant?
Yes, sir.
You saw him with your own eye,
Yes, sir.
and you approached the vehicle and you talked to him,
Yes, sir.
and you looked with your own eyes inside of the vehicle,
Yes, sir.
and you saw open containers in the vehicle. And you noticed the smell of alcohol coming from the vehicle.
Yes, sir.
You said earlier you detected that you saw that his eyes were red and his pupils were dilated.
Yes.
And I believe you said that his actions were lethargic.
Yes, sir.
And you saw all of that yourself.
Yes, sir.
You didn't get that information from anybody else.
No, sir.
You saw all of that. No further.
Okay, Mrs. Demar,
Yes, Sean, just a comment. Your Honor, no further questions.
okay. Okay, may this witness be excused?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, Mr., well, Sergeant King, you're excused. The rule has been invoked. You are ordered to leave this courtroom and not re-enter unless instructed to do so by the bailiff or me. You are not to discuss this case or your testimony with other witnesses or anyone except your attorneys. You're not to read any report, comment on the testimony or evidence in the case. Any witness violating this rule can be held in contempt of court. Okay? Okay, you excused. You can follow you can follow the bailiff and you have a blessed day. Mr. Hilton, you can call your next witness.
They call Thane Tilly, Your Honor.
What is the name?
Thane Tilly,
Thane Tilly?
T-H-A-I-N-E. and
Okay.
Tilly, T-I-L-L-I-E.
Thane Tilly. Mr. Tilly, would you, Officer Tilly, you come forward. Would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear firm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, you may put your hand down. Officer Tilly, you can take the witness stand. You could adjust the seat and the microphone. Mr. Hilton, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Can you state your name for the court?
Officer Thane Tilly,
And can you spell it for the court reporter?
T-H-A-I-N-E, T-I-L-L-I-E.
Thank you. And what is your occupation?
I'm a patrolman for Nederland Police Department.
And how long have you been with the Nederland Police Department?
Approximately a year.
And are you a certified peace officer?
Yes, sir.
And how long have you been a certified peace officer?
Approximately a year.
Does they say Nederland's the only place that you work as a peace officer?
Yes, sir.
And were you working with the Nederland Police Department on August 9th of 2024?
Yes, sir.
And were you certified as a peace officer then as well?
Yes, sir.
What are your duties as a patrolman for Nederland Police Department?
Answer calls, make traffic stops. 12-hour shift to keep yourself busy, answering calls and trying to be proactive.
And were you on duty on August 9th of 2024?
Yes, sir.
Do you know what shift you were working that day?
6 p.m. to 6 a.m.
And back up a minute, what kind of training and education did you get to become a peace officer?
I went to the police academy, so you have all kinds of trainings. You how to talk to people, like dog handling, SFST training, search and arrest training, like handcuffing, all kinds of stuff.
And you said SFST training, that's standardized field sobriety test training.
Yes, sir.
And did you receive certification for that?
Yes, sir.
When did you get certified for that?
While working in the academy, I'm not sure the exact date. It's one of the classes that you take go and you get certified after you finish it and pass it.
You know when you graduated from the academy?
I believe it was May of 2024.
And did you receive any other training, special training in detection of, whether someone is intoxicated?
But part of the SFST training, they have people they bring in that drink and stuff for you to do the test on. That's part of the training.
Okay. So going back to August 9th of 2024, what was your position then? The field patrolman?
Yes, sir. I was in training, so I had an FTO with me.
Was that, Officer Benoit?
Yes, sir.
And was he riding along with you?
Yes, sir.
And were you in uniform that day?
Yes, sir.
Like you are now with your badge displayed?
Yes, sir.
And did you receive a call around 9:02 PM that night?
I don't remember the exact time. Somewhere around there, yes, sir.
Okay. And who was that call from?
Dispatch,
And what was the nature of that call?
hit and run accident that occurred near McDonald's on Ewing Avenue.
And were you given a description of the vehicle that left the scene?
Yes, sir.
What was that description?
It was a old white Dodge. Best article. Recall.
You know, what kind of vehicle it was?
Truck.
Okay. Was there any other descriptions about the vehicle?
I don't recall.
And did it give the direction the vehicle was traveling?
Yes, sir. He was eastbound on Ewing Avenue.
Okay. And upon receiving that call, what if anything did you do?
I started heading to the location. Then Sergeant King let us know via radio that he had made a traffic stop on a vehicle matching that description.
Okay. And so after you received the call that King had made a stop, what did you do?
I went to his location
Okay. And where was that location?
off the 1400 block of Ewing Avenue.
And what kind of road is near on that?
Just a straight thoroughfare. Got 4 lanes of travel,
Is it a paved or dirt road?
a paved road.
Is it a public place?
Yes, sir.
And is it in the town of Nearland?
Yes, sir.
And is that within Jefferson County?
Yes, sir.
When you arrived at that scene, what did you see?
Third Sergeant King to have 3 Spanish males standing in front of his patrol vehicle. He was speaking with them.
Were there any other vehicles in the parking lot?
I recall.
Did any other officers show up?
Myself, Officer Benwall, and Sergeant King was right there.
Just so we're clear, you and Benoit were in the same vehicle.
Yes, sir.
Did you approach the suspect vehicle?
I approached the 2 individuals that were standing in front of Sergeant King's car on the right hand side. I never went into the vehicle.
Did you make contact with the defendant?
After a period of time, I did talk to him, yes, sir.
Okay. And do you see him here in the courtroom today? Can you identify him by pointing to him and saying describing an article of his clothing?
He's wearing a maroon shirt.
May the record reflect that he's identified the defendant.
The record will reflect that the witness has identified the defendant.
Did you have an opportunity to speak with the defendant that night?
Yes, sir.
And when you spoke with him, what did you see?
What do you mean by that?
Was there anything about his appearance that stood out to you?
So I'd see, he seemed a little off, and I could smell the odor of alcohol as soon as I started talking to him.
And where were you talking to him now? Was he in the vehicle or was he outside the vehicle?
He was outside the vehicle.
Were there other people around? Like close to him?
No, sir, by this time we had stepped away because I was going to perform a standardized field sobriety test off to the side.
Okay. And so you said you smelled the odor of alcohol on his person?
Yes, sir.
What about his breath?
When he was talking, yes, sir.
Okay. And again, y'all were separated from the others.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you ask the defendant, if he would take the field sobriety test?
No, sir.
And but you separated him so that you could do this field sobriety test?
Yes, sir.
What test did you perform?
Horizontal gaze, the walk and turn, the one leg stand.
And did the defendant appear as though he was in any kind of injury or condition that would prevent him from performing the test?
No, sir.
Did he indicate to you that there was any conditions or anything that would prevent him from taking the test?
No, sir.
And what was the first test that you asked the defendant for?
Horizontal gaze and stagnant test.
Is that also referred to as the HGN test?
Yes,
Okay. Did you describe that test to the defendant?
yes, sir. I gave him instructions on everything.
Okay. And did he indicate that he understood your instructions?
Yes, sir.
And did you perform the HGN test on him?
Yes, sir.
Were you able to complete the HGN test? And did you see any clues on the HGN test?
Yes, sir.
And what kind of clues are you looking for on the HGN test?
You're looking for each test you do, you'll look for at the eye, each eye separately, see if it's doing a certain amount of ticking.
And what does that tell you?
The level of intoxication. A normal person just sitting here, not gonna have the stagnance like that.
What about if somebody's nervous? Is that gonna cause the stagnant?
I'm not sure.
Okay. What clues did you see from the HGN test on?
It lack of smooth pursuit in both eyes, onset nystagmus prior to 45 degrees in both eyes. And it also had a max deviation in both eyes.
Okay. And was he able to follow your instructions on the HGN test?
I had to repeat myself a couple times on certain steps.
Such as, what steps?
As in like, you tell them you have to follow the tip of your finger with your eyes only, or tip of your pen with your eyes only, don't move your head. He would move his head a little bit.
It would better to follow instructions, but could that be an indication of intoxication?
Yes, sir.
Are the clues you see in the HGN, is that signs of intoxication?
Yes, sir.
What was the next test that you,
Did the walk and turn test.
and what is that?
9 heel to toe steps on the imaginary line, comparing 9 heel to toe steps back on the same line.
And did you explain that test to the defendant?
Yes, sir.
And did he indicate to you that he understood your instructions?
Yes, sir.
Did you demonstrate it for him?
I believe so.
Okay. And did he indicate that he understood what you were asking? And was he able to perform the long-term test?
Yes, sir.
And what kind of clues are you looking for, or signs of intoxication are you looking for on the walk-in turn test?
Using your hands for balance, not doing toe to toe, and proper turns. Look like that.
What is the significance of those clues? What do those tell you?
And unable to walk straight. I mean,
Would that indicate a loss of his mental faculty?
yes, sir.
Would that indicate a loss of his physical faculty?
Yes, sir.
And what clues did you notice on the walk and turn test of the defendant?
I don't recall. I have to look at my reports. Heel to toe, he started too soon. He couldn't balance during instruction.
Okay. Do you remember how many times he performed the walk and turn test?
We could perform it twice.
Why did he do it twice?
The first time it was pretty improper, so I re-explained it and let him try it again.
You said the first time was improper. What was improper about it? Do you remember? But you gave him a second opportunity at that test,
Yes, sir.
and you still observed clues of intoxication. What was the next test that you performed?
For one leg stand.
And what is the one leg stand?
You put your feet together on both sides. You pick one foot, either foot of your choice, and you hold it off the ground, parallel to the ground, approximately 6 inches.
And what clues of intoxication are you looking for on the one leg stand?
Hopping, swaying, using your arms for balance.
And what's the significance of those clues?
You're unable to stand properly. You're physically not able to stand properly.
Okay. So it's just the mental faculties,
Yes, sir.
and it's just the use of the physical faculties.
Yes, sir.
And what clues did you observe on the defendant during the one leg stand?
I have to refer. He was swaying and used his arms for balance.
Are there any other clues?
It's not part of the clues, but he did, when he was counting, he would say like the same number multiple times. He wasn't counting 1, 2, whenever it was stopped, he would say the same number again. Like repetitive.
So he would get out of sequence and
Yes, sir.
doing the numbers? Okay. And what does that tell you?
His mental faculties are not all there.
Okay. At some point in time, did you make the decision to place the defendant under arrest? Okay. And before making that decision, what had you learned about the defendant through your investigation?
He was not safe to be operating a motor vehicle on a public roadway.
Is that based off the test that you performed?
Yes, sir.
The odor of alcohol you detected from his breath in person? And did you believe you had sufficient credible information to conclude that the defendant was guilty of a criminal offense?
Yes, sir.
And what offense was that?
Well, complicated, different alcohol, everything.
Okay. And when you arrested the defendant, was that in a public place?
Yes, sir.
And the Nederland Police Department, they issued you a body camera,
Yes, sir.
and were you wearing a body camera on August 9th?
Yes.
And is that able to make a audio and visual recording?
Yes, sir.
And are you able to copy that, make a copy of that recording?
Yes, sir.
And were you able to do so in this case?
I did not make a copy of it, but a copy was made of it. Yes, sir.
And have you used that copy?
Yes, sir.
And is that a fair and accurate depiction of your interactions with the defendant on August 9th? Has it been altered in any way? Or may I approve?
Yes, you may.
Showing was marked in State's Exhibit number 5. Do you recognize that?
Yes, sir.
Are these your initials here? And is this the body cam that you watched?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Your Honor, I'll offer Exhibit 5 after proffering to the fifth.
No objection, Your Honor.
No objections.
To publish.
Okay, no objections. State number 5 is admitted. You may publish it.
How you're gonna. Alright, we're gonna do some just practice, all right? Okay. You take your hat off and just put it, you get to your belly or whatever. You wear glasses? No, no. Alright, stand with your feet together, hands by your side, straight up. Alright, you're gonna watch the tip of my finger with your eyes don't move your head, you understand? Alright. Just your eyes, alright, don't move your head. Alright. Let's move your head.
And is this the HGN test that you referred to earlier?
Yes, sir.
Move your head, just your eyes. Stand over the phone. Stand on my light, face that way, face the road. Gotcha. Alright, do this one. You're gonna imagine you have an imaginary line right here, okay? Okay? You're gonna stand your left foot on the line. Right foot in front of your left heel to toe. Left foot on the line. There you go. Hands by your side. Don't start until I tell you to, okay? Alright, for this test, you're gonna take 9 heel to toe steps on your imaginary line. 9 heel to toe steps on your imaginary line. Don't start until I tell you to. Alright? Just stand like that. 9 heel to toe steps on your imaginary line. On your 9th step, you're gonna leave your lead foot down, and you're gonna take a series of small steps to turn around, and you're gonna take 9 heel to toe steps back on the same imaginary line, okay? While doing this, you're gonna count your steps out loud. Keep your hands by your side, and you're gonna watch your feet, okay? Once you start this test, don't stop. You understand? Alright, you may begin.
Hey, you want four off there, come down, you, one of their units, I got two out here. They don't have to, we're gonna do it, those units right now. What gives us information that you. Okay.
I'm gonna explain this one again to you, and then I'm,
So that was the first time you did the walk and turn test, is that correct?
Yes.
And that's the one you said he did improperly?
Yes, sir.
What was improper about that?
He didn't go down and turn around and walk back, he would walk backwards. Instead of turning around and walking facing back towards me.
And not being able to follow instructions can be a sign of intoxication,
Yes,
is that correct?
show you what that is. You put your left foot on your imaginary line, your right foot in front of your left, hands by your side, okay? Get in the position. Left foot on the imaginary line, your right foot in front of your left heel to toe, and hold the position. Okay, right here? Yeah, okay, stop. Don't start until I tell you to. You're gonna take 9 heel to toe steps, on your 9th step. You're gonna leave your lead foot down, you're gonna take a series of small steps to turn around, you're gonna come back 9 heel to toe steps on the same imaginary line. While doing so, you're gonna count your steps out loud, you're gonna watch your feet and keep your hands by your side, you understand? Once you start this test, don't stop. I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna demonstrate for you, okay? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Series of small steps to turn around. Back. 1, 2, 3. I did 3, you're gonna do 9, okay? Okay. Once you start, don't stop. You ready again? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Go. Okay. 10.
And that was the second time you did the walk and turn test, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you said part of the clues that you were looking for were they able to maintain their balance?
Yes, sir.
And was he able to maintain his balance during that test?
No, sir.
And how many steps are they asked to take?
9,
And coming back, how many steps did he take?
10.
Stand right here on my left arm, face me. Face me. Alright, it's gonna be the one leg stand. For this one, you're gonna put your feet together, hands by your side. Okay, with one foot, either foot of your choice, you're gonna hold it out in front of you, parallel to the ground, approximately 6 inches off the ground, okay? 6 inches? Yeah. While doing so, you're gonna count out loud 1001, 1002, 1003, and so on until I tell you to stop. You understand? Excellent. Remember, watch your foot. You're gonna count out loud. Keep your hands by your side, okay? Around this one. You may begin.
That's one. That's two. That's three. That's four. Five. That's six. Seven. Eight. Eight. Nine. That's 10. That's 11. That's 12. That's 13. That's 12. That's 13. That's 14. That's 16. That's 17. That's 18. 19. All right, yeah. 20. 19. Now you get started.
The white dog or white rated percent.
That's okay.
Yeah, horse and 1,500 off here on that.
Should we start now?
That was the one like, that's correct.
Yes, sir.
And one of the clues you're looking for is maintaining balance.
Yes, sir.
Was he able to maintain balance on that video?
No, sir.
And then you talked about the counting. He repeated several numbers, didn't he?
Yes, sir.
And he went backwards to 12, 13, 12, 13. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And so based on that performance that you saw in the video, and again, coupled with the odor of alcohol from his breath and his person, you decided to make an arrest for driving while intoxicated.
Yes, sir.
That's what.
Okay. Mr. Zamora,
All right, take your own. Officer Tilly, on this particular night, August 9th, 2024, what was your status at the police department?
I was a patrolman.
Were you OJT, was there an FTO with you?
Yes, sir.
Who was that?
Officer Benoit.
Okay. And when you got this call, how long were you an OJT at that point?
I believe I was in phase 4.
Out of how many stages?
There's 5 total.
5. So 2 months in? Yes.
I don't recall. I don't know exactly.
Got it. And at this point, when these SFSTs were administered, how many had you done at this point? The series of tests.
I'm not sure.
Right. You're on the clock for 2 months, so you can't put a figure on that?
No, sir. I don't have an exact number.
Okay. It's probably a few of them, right? At that point, in August of last year.
A few of them.
Okay. Now, I was looking at your supplement that you submitted, other than indicating that I could detect the odor of alcohol emitted from his breath and about his person. Does that mean he's intoxicated?
No, sir.
Did you, if you looked at your offense report, did you make any mention about his eyes,
No, sir.
his voice? Anything other than just the smell?
No, sir.
Okay. So then you start conducting phase 3 of this DWI investigation, correct?
We mean phase 3.
So NHTSA, do you know what NHTSA stands for?
No, sir.
So let's go through that. So when we talk about these investigations, have you heard of NHTSA before?
Yes, sir.
The National Highway, does that ring a bell at all?
It rings a bell, yes, sir.
Okay, can you finish that or not?
No, sir.
Okay. So NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, they have 3 phases of a DWI detection process. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Because it wasn't long prior to this that you were in the academy, right?
Correct.
And Mothers Against Drug Driving brought those people in and all that business, right?
Yes, sir.
And that's the only training you had?
Yes, sir.
And then the few SFSTs that you were instructed to do by a superior officer or the sarge, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. And so phase one is a vehicle in motion. You don't know anything about that, correct? When you get there on the scene, you're in the driver's seat.
I'm in the driver's seat driving.
Are you driving the shop when you get on the scene?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And who's in the passenger side?
Right, Tito,
Who is that?
Officer Benoit.
All right. And when you arrive on the scene, you testify that there was 3 males outside the vehicle?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you talk to anybody prior to going to the situation immediately? Was there anybody else there on scene that you spoke to?
I believe I talked to the passengers that were sitting off to the right hand side first.
And did Benoit talk to anybody? Do you remember?
I don't know.
Was there another vehicle present on the scene?
Oh,
Okay. Now, and you go and talk to the passengers of this vehicle or some of these men that are outside their vehicle? Cordial,
yes, sir.
polite,
Yes, sir.
nothing out of the ordinary?
Yes, sir.
So then Benoit and Sergeant King make the decision because at that time you're kind of a new boot that you're gonna do the SFSTs, right?
Yes, sir.
Get some experience.
Yes, sir.
All right. And at this point, had you done any SFSTs and then there wasn't an arrest at this point?
Oh,
It would stick out though, right?
should.
Letting somebody go? Right. So do you know what phase 3 of the DWI investigation process is called?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's called pre-arrest screening. And that, after that hyphen is arrest, so there's no see if they're doing anything, it's just pre-arrest, correct? Do you know what that phase, what the officer's supposed to be doing? In phase 3? Okay. In this phase, the officer administers field sobriety tests to determine whether there is probable cause to arrest the driver for DWI. Depending on agency policy, the officer may administer or could arrange to have a preliminary breath test conducted. That wasn't done here, right?
Correct.
And here in the state of Texas, it's at the time of driving, correct? When the BAC matters? When the blood alcohol content matters,
Yes, sir.
at the time of driving, correct?
Mhm.
All right, did you happen to determine that in any form or fashion at just following his stop?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you move, as we've seen here, and you were watching the video just now, weren't you?
Yes, sir.
And if I move it back, hopefully it doesn't. I want you to watch these windows in the back to include the farmer's insurance door. I want you to watch that while you're kind of weaving because body naturally doesn't.
Let's well, maybe. That's what.
What I want you to focus on is these windows, right? You see the strobing blue and red lights? Watch.
So, that's the great, that's one. Right.
You see this wall up here turning blue and this reflection and then the door is also doing it?
Yes,
You
sir.
see any of those strobing lights?
Yes, sir. I do see him.
Okay. Now, is there anything in the NHTSA manual that articulates anything about strobing lights? And how they could affect the HGN?
Yes, sir.
And here, you're facing You got him, Mr. De Leon, facing away from the strobing lights, but when you do the HDN, is he facing? Let's see. Is he facing what we just looked at as far as the reflecting strobing lights? Is that what he's facing?
I don't know if he's facing the lights directly. He's facing towards the building for sure.
Okay. But you would, let me just start this over. You see Benoit, he's half blue over here, right?
Yes, sir.
How long does an HDN supposed to, if you're supposed to do it just like the manual tells you to do you know how long it's supposed to take?
No, sir. Exact time.
81 seconds. Just for your books. I'll help you out.
Your Honor, objection to, he's testifying.
Objection sustained.
Right, right. Familiar with
And at this point, do you understand whether Spanish is his first language or his second language? Pretty important when you're giving instructions, right? Whether they understand your instructions?
Yes, sir.
All right.
with glasses? No. Stand with your feet together, hands by your side, straight up. All right, you're gonna watch tip of my finger with your eyes only, don't move your head.
Light still strobing? I'm just want to make it clear for the record.
You understand? Yes.
Yes, sir.
It would have been wise to turn them off, correct?
Correct.
Just your eyes, all right? Let me,
What are you checking for right there?
That one, we're doing equal tracking.
What else?
Equal size and equal tracking.
Now, is there any other sort of nystagmus that Nitz had spoke of when you went through the training?
Resting nystagmus.
Okay, what else? How many other nystagmuses did they discuss in this big book?
Couldn't tell you.
There's a lot more, is there? So, did he have resting nystagmus?
No, sir.
Does everybody have resting nystagmus?
No, sir.
you know, that's-
Eyes look pretty white, huh?
Objection. Defense counsel is testifying, not the witness.
Objection sustained.
Officer Tilly, can you see his eyes?
Yes, sir.
Do they look pretty white?
Yes, sir.
All right.
That's maybe all
What you checking for right there?
Can you start it back over?
Just put the.
And what were you checking for?
lack of smooth.
That's maybe, right?
What you checking for on that?
Can you keep the video going for just a few seconds?
Checking for there.
So the second thing I'll check for was max deviation, nystagmus.
Yeah, just your eyes.
So you finished right there, right? And then you start on what?
Vertical nystagmus.
All right. Was there anything that gave you indication that you needed to do vertical nystagmus?
I do it every time.
All right. And then you look at the grade of this parking lot, you see there's kind of a grade from what is that, Nederland and right here at 15th, there's kind of a grade where the water will go down the what you call it, whatever that dip, that join of the parking lot in Nederland. You see that?
Yes,
Okay, and so there's a grade in that parking lot, right?
yes, sir.
Okay, and do you see there anything different about that ground that you got in on?
More like a gravel, hard gravel.
Like old, right? It's got some years on it, probably.
Yes, sir.
You can tell. So in the NHTSA manual, would you agree whenever possible, the test walk and turn should be conducted on a reasonably dry, hard, level, non-slippery surface, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so level is one of the things that NHTSA talks about. Would you say that was level?
I think that was the most level place I could go
Gotcha.
safely.
But that's a no, right?
Sorry?
That's a no?
It was the most level place I could go.
Okay, so the question again, I'll ask you, where's the next place you can go, but right where you're at is where he's at, level. The yes or no question. I'm trying to do anything wrong.
Well, it's the most level place I can go. I mean,
All right, fair enough. We'll move forward. And so on the walk and turn, do you use an imaginary line or one of those parking stripes? Because there's some parking stripes there. Did you see them?
yes, sir. I saw him.
Okay. Did you use a parking stripe?
No, sir.
Any reason as to why?
No, sir.
And with regard to the walk and turn, did you look at maybe footwear? Does footwear have something to do with it, maybe?
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you happen to look at, because you do the investigation now, now you've been given the keys to this thing. Did you take in consideration his footwear?
No, sir.
All right. You use imaginary line, correct?
Yes, sir.
How thick was that line?
The imaginary line,
What color was it?
imaginary.
So what are you looking for? If you're saying that he's walked off that line, you can't see this line, how do you know that he didn't step on that line?
Because, I mean, you can tell somebody starts walking in the U shape, not really a straight line.
Okay. Are you weaving at this point? or swaying, sorry. Because we can tell by this square right here and these things that aren't moving. Or is it you that's swaying?
Stand right over the phone. Stand,
There's a parking lot right there, right?
all right, face that way, face the road. All right, do this one. You're gonna imagine you have an imaginary line here, okay? Okay? You're gonna stand your left foot on the line. Right foot in front of your left heel to toe. Left foot on the line. There you go. Hands by your side. Don't start until I tell you to, okay? All right, for this test, you're gonna take 9 heel to toe steps on your imaginary line. 9 heel to toe steps on your imaginary line. Don't start until I tell you to. All right? Just stand like that.
Do you know if he's ever done these tests before? Did you ask him about if he has any feet or knee issues?
No, sir.
It was kind of like, it was pre-game kind of things like you do it for, do you got contacts and stuff with HGN, right?
Yes, sir.
But you didn't ask any of that, right?
No, sir.
9 heel to toe steps in your imaginary line. On your 9th step, you're gonna leave your lead foot down, and you're gonna take a series of small steps to turn around, and you're gonna take 9 heel to toe steps back on the same imaginary line, okay? While doing this, you're gonna count your steps out loud. Keep your hands by your side, and you're gonna watch your feet, okay? Once you start this test, don't stop. You understand? All right, you may begin.
Is he walking on his line?
Yes, sir.
Did you do a demonstration?
Not for the first one, no, sir.
So it wasn't because he had made an error, it was because you made an error, right? Because you testified earlier, you did it over again because he was doing it so bad.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it wasn't his error, it was yours.
No, it was his error.
Are you supposed to do a demonstration?
Yes, sir.
All right, and what are these SFSTs, what's that first letter stand for? What's the acronym?
Standardized.
Which means what?
Do the same routine every week.
Every time, right?
Yes, sir.
So the first time you didn't do it right, right? And you get paid to get it right the first time, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Fair?
Yes, sir.
Did you give him a benefit of the doubt on that?
Yes, sir.
Is he still on his line?
He's starting to go a little bit off.
You can see it now?
You can see that he's starting to slowly move over. Yes, sir.
Hey, no problem, come down to you. Well, 1:30, I got to do that here.
Did you give him any points for going backwards heel to toe?
Yes, sir.
He didn't fall over, did he? And he's going backwards?
No, sir, he didn't fall over.
I don't have a bill about those days print down. What is the information that you?
So any of those clues right there, did you attribute them to the report about doing the test correctly the next time?
Can you ask me one more time?
The errors that you've seen on the first test that you incorrectly demonstrated, did you use any of those clues for the totality of the circumstances, I guess, here?
Yes, sir.
Which ones did you count? Or which ones did you mark for that? The first one.
He had the improper turn.
Okay?
All right.
I'm gonna explain this one again to you, and then I'm gonna show you, okay?
You can hear your tone change, huh? A little bit?
No, sir.
You put your left foot on your imaginary line, your right foot in front of your left, hands by your side, okay?
Are you reading from a document right now?
No, sir.
Get in the position. Left foot on the imaginary line, your right foot in front of your left heel to toe, and hold the position. Okay, right here? Yeah, okay, stop. Don't start until I tell you to. You're gonna take 9 heel to toe steps. On your ninth step, you're gonna leave the leaf foot down, you're gonna take a series of small steps to turn around, you're gonna come back 9 heel toe steps on the same imaginary line. Turn it up.
You're administering this test, it's fair to say that the Sarge and your FTO being present gives you a little bit more pressure, correct?
Yes, sir.
You want to impress them and make sure that their tutelage is legacy in your journey, correct? Correct? That they've helped you do the right thing.
Yes, sir.
By doing so, you're gonna count your steps out loud, you're gonna watch your feet and keep your hands by your side. You understand? Once you start this test, don't stop. I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna demonstrate for you, okay? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Series of small steps to turn around. Back. 1, 2, 3. I did 3, you're gonna do 9, okay? Okay. Once you start, don't stop. You're ready again. Yeah.
You can tell he's hidden the back of his heel, right? You hear it.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Now, when you're looking at this imaginary line, do you see it's kind of going diagonal up the grade?
Yes, sir.
You think that would make a difference maybe on a balance test? Or split attention test?
Yes, sir.
Did you give me any points for that?
Or
For doing it on a slant, graded, rough surface?
yes, sir.
Set. Go. Okay. Stand right here on my left arm, face me.
One second here. No, I'm gonna go forward. Just a second. You wrote that he missed heel to toe. Which step did he do that so we can look at it again?
We have to replay the video, I'll be able to tell you.
Okay, did he have it in one? In that first 9?
You can see it right there on the last one, he turned around, his feet weren't even close to me.
So is that improper turn or is it didn't heel to toe?
That was not heel to toe.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Is he on the line? Is he on his line or you don't know?
No.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Go. Okay. Stand right here on my left arm, face me. Face me. Alright, it's gonna be the one leg stand. For this one, you're gonna put your feet together, hands by your side. Okay, with one foot, either foot of your choice, you're gonna hold it out in front of you, parallel to the ground, approximately 6 inches off the ground, okay? 6 inches? Yeah. While doing so, you're gonna count out loud 1001, 1002, 1003, and so on until I tell you to stop. You understand? Yes. Remember, watch your foot. You're gonna count out loud. Keep your hands by your side, okay? All right, this one. You may begin. That's one. That's two. That's three. That's 1. That's 5. 6. 7. 8. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. 13. 12. 13. 14. 15. That's 16. That's 17. That's 18. 19. All right. 20. And 19. Now you get started.
And there, what clues did you see there? Please do.
Sways and uses on for balance.
Got you. And if you can tell right there, do you think he's on the level, since he's this way, I guess diagonal again, using the same imaginary line he was earlier? Is he diagonal or is he flat surface?
Where it's not diagonal, he's leaning in that right there.
Okay. So, again, on the HGN, the strobe lights probably would invalidate them because the standardized process of that, they're supposed to be turned off, right? And you said they weren't the entire time. And then the first run in the walk and turn, you attribute a poor series of small steps to turn around without providing demonstration, correct?
Correct.
And you used that clue against him. Right. And then on this one-legged stand, we can all see that there's a situation with the grade of the parking lot and the county.
Objection, that's not what the witness testified to.
Objection sustained.
And then do you have probable cause at this point to arrest?
What will cause to arrest?
Yes.
At this point, yes, sir.
No further questions.
Mr. Hilton?
Thank you. Why do you have the overhead lights on?
To let other people passing by know that we're there so we don't get struck.
For your safety,
Yes, sir.
for Mr. DeLeon's safety,
Yes, sir. Correct.
for the other occupants of the vehicle, their safety,
Yes, sir.
your other officers that are there, their safety.
Yes, sir.
So to turn them off would not be safe.
Correct. We park cars on next to a road or in a road.
That's all the question.
Okay. Mrs. Zamar?
No further questions.
May this witness be excused?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Officer Tilly, the rule has been invoked. You are ordered to leave the courtroom and do not re-enter unless instructed to do so by the bailiff or myself. You are not to discuss this case or your testimony with other witnesses or anyone else except the attorneys. You're not to read any reports or comments on testimony of any other witness in this case. If you do so, you could be held in contempt of court. Okay, so at this time, you're free to go and you have a blessed day.
Thank you.
State, do you have any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor, state for this.
Okay, defense.
Stay right, just closing one.
Okay, so at this time, either party would like to have an argument.
They will reserve for rebuttal.
That's how it works with the motion to suppress. I think the state has the burden, and I get to close on this deal here. So I'm the moving, so I believe he's got the burden of persuasion.
Burden shift, okay.
May I please-
Okay, you could just present your argument.
Your Honor, the evidence in this case is clear and convincing. On August 9th of 2024, that there was an accident that occurred on Nearland Avenue, and Nearland Police Department it was reported to Nearland Police Department that a white Dodge Ram pickup had left the scene of the accident, was traveling east on Nearland Avenue. That was dispatched out to Sergeant King and Officer Tilly, and they responded to that call. Officer King in his response to that was traveling west on Nearland Avenue, spotted a white Dodge pickup with front end damage traveling east on Nearland Avenue, matching the description that he was provided of the vehicle that was seen leaving the scene of an accident, which is a crime. He makes the turn, follows that vehicle. He notices another crime in commission in that the vehicle was traveling with no tail lights on. He makes a traffic stop, a lawful traffic stop. He's got plenty of reasonable suspicion based for a traffic stop to continue his investigation for one, the offense of leaving the scene of a crime, two, the traveling without the proper tail lights. There, the stop is a legal stop. It's a good stop. From there, he approaches the vehicle to make contact with the defendant, who is the driver. Sergeant King witnessed him behind the wheel, operating a motor vehicle in a public place in Jefferson County. He walks up there, he sees open containers in the center console within arm's reach of the defendant. He has the odor of alcohol coming from inside of the vehicle. They continue the investigation, and Officer Tilley takes over, performing the SFSTs. He testified that he smelled odor of alcohol coming directly from the defendant's breath, the defendant's person. He performed the standardized field sobriety test. He indicated that he noted clues of intoxication in all three tests. You see on the video where he's stumbling, he's losing his balance, he's shaking, using his arms for balance. You also hear when he says, doing the one leg stand, counting 6, 7, 8, 8. And then again, he gets to 10, 11, 12, 13, 12, 13. Multiple times he gets numbers out of sequence. On the walk and turn test, he's given 2 opportunities to do it, and he is told multiple times that he take 9 steps, and he takes 10 steps. So there's clear and convincing evidence that there is more than probable cause for an arrest for DWI that was seen in the presence of the Nearland Police Department. That was occurred, again, operating a motor vehicle in a public place in Jefferson County on August 9th. And so we'd ask that the court would deny the defense motion.
Mr. Martin.
Yeah, proceed, Your Honor. Yeah, this is a situation of loyalty versus integrity. Now, nobody's denying that there was reasonable suspicion for the stop. There's no determination by any witness that said that there was any mechanical problem with the vehicle. And then we move forward. Sarge testified that he'd seen red eyes, odor of alcohol in less than 3 seconds after he tapped on the window and told him to step out of the vehicle. And he throws Pennsylvania Sims and saying that everybody needs to get out. And he's kind of surprised that they all have driver's license. And he asked my client, what happened? He tells him. And he goes and talks to Brian McKeever, and that's important. Because he tells him the phase 1 of this DWI investigation, saying that he thought it was a Ford and then it was a Ram after he spoke to the person, and there was a BAM and there was nobody behind him, and he may have, he ran through the light or stop sign or whatever. So I believe if we would have kept going with the investigation with Mr. McKeever, we'd be somewhere else. However, that immediately pawned Mr. De Leon off to the new, who only has two months in the game. And these standard field sobriety tests put out there for NHTSA are there to ensure that there's an equal administration of these tactics to find out if there's, in fact, DWI or driving while intoxicated drivers out there. And we heard from Mr. Tilley or Officer Tilley that the HGN, there is an issue with that, the strobing lights, and that's in the NHTSA manual. They could have turned them all off, but they failed, they didn't, they failed to do so. So we can't lean on or accept them as valid because they failed to conduct them appropriately or administer them appropriately. Then we move to the walk and turn. We clearly see in the parking lot that the manual it dictates that we need to use a level ground. What we flushed out from Officer Tilley, and we would have that. An invisible line when there's a parking stripe that would help all of us in this situation. There is an issue, I believe, with the two languages, the barriers in there. Mr. DeLeon was doing everything he could. He wasn't upset. He was trying to get through this thing because he had just taken over driving from another driver inside the truck. So, and there's issues with, I believe, with the one-legged stand and that they didn't administer appropriately, like the walk and turn, where he didn't do the demonstration and then counted something against him for failing to demonstrate it correctly. So, and he testified to that. So I'm asking the court to suppress the evidence because I get that they were looking for a truck that was involved in an accident. And we have reasonable suspicion that the taillights. However, this is a DWI investigation now. Regardless if they want it to be or not, they have to adhere to the rules that are provided to not just law enforcement, but every citizen or every member of society, as far as our society when it comes to driving while intoxicated. So, we have to look. The state doesn't get the benefit of that. Mr. DeLeon does. The state's supposed to do this correctly the first time. Because we sit here now attempting or trying to allow the state to call my client a criminal. He's just trying to get him and his friends home, and he didn't know that the taillights were out. So there was no driving facts indicated by Sergeant King. There's only a smell from Officer Tilley. We have Benoit, but he wasn't called. McKeever wasn't called. And a big portion of the information that these law enforcement officers used came from some fella in a white pickup truck that thought Ford white pickup, or a pickup truck that was white and a Ford make hit another vehicle for some reason because he pulled out in front of somebody. So they had reason to pull him over. They just didn't advance their position by administering these standard field sobriety tests in accordance with the NHTSA manual, Your Honor. So we're asking you to suppress the evidence.
So the court is gonna take this matter under advisement. Okay, this will conclude this hearing. I guess we have to give y'all the next court date, but
We can do it by email or.
that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so this hearing is concluded.
Thank you.
You are.
You too.
You don't need to be on the record for this. This is the exhibits, right? I need to find out some more. Mr. Kimler and Mr. Hugel. Yeah, is that Dexter Zacchaeus McClellan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that correct?
He's in the-
Okay. Did you get,
Need a break?
Hold on, a minute, let me, Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session and cause number 25 CCCR 0936. Case is filed in the state of Texas versus Dexter Zacchaeus McClellan.
Yes, sir.
Mr. McClellan, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How are you doing, Mr. McClellan?
Okay, sir.
That's good. Now, Mr. McClellan, you're representing your case by your attorney, Ralph Kimler. Attorney Kimler, how are you doing?
Well, thank you, Your Honor.
And the state is represented in this case by Attorney Andrew Hubel. Attorney Hubel, how are you doing?
Doing well, Judge.
Okay. Now, this case is set for a bench trial on today. State, are you ready?
State has an oral motion for the to be placed on the record, Your Honor.
Okay. Defense, are you ready?
Ready?
Okay. And Mr. Mr. Hubel?
This is an oral motion for continuance. This is the case's first trial setting, and this is the state's first motion for continuance in this case. We would ask that this case be continued so that the state may procure the testimony of the complaining witness in this case, Debbie Adams. The state has performed due diligence in this case by sending out travelers and subpoenas prior to this court setting and reached out to the complainant witness via the phone, but have not successfully at this state procured his testimony. State would ask that this case be continued because her testimony as the material witness is necessary for this case.
Your Honor, normally I try to be accommodating to the state when matters of continuances arise. However, in this case, I have to depart from that pattern of practice because Mr. McClellan is presently detained under a parole warrant because of this case. So I need to have a disposition of it in order to proceed with the parole matter. Obviously, I think the offense stage we discussed is fairly recent, in March of 2025. If the state were to dismiss the case as opposed to proceeding to an actual adjudication through a bench trial, then they would have the option. They would not be precluded from refiling the case should that arise later with the witness coming forward and opposing the dismissal. I don't anticipate that occurring, but that would allow the state that option if the state were simply to just dismiss the case. So we would oppose the motion for continuance. But I would understand if the would not oppose passing the bench trial and allowing the state to dismiss.
Okay. Just check with this schedule. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I'm looking at Article 29.04, Texas Code of Criminal Procedure. And it's titled First Motion by State. And Article 29 is Chapter 29 is the chapter that's titled Continuances. And Article 29.04 states that it shall be sufficient upon the first motion by the state for continuance if the same be for the want of a witness to state number one, the name of the witness and his residence if known, or that his residence is unknown. Number two, the diligence which has been used to procure his attendance, and it shall not be considered sufficient diligence to have cause to be issued or to have applied for a subpoena in cases where the law authorizes an attachment to issue. And number three, that the testimony of the witness is believed by the applicant to be material for the state. Let's see. Reading Article 29.03 say for sufficient cause, the criminal action may be continued on the written motion of the state or the defendant upon sufficient cause shown, which cause shall be fully set forth in the motion. The continuance may be only for as long as necessary. So what the court is looking at, I know the state made an oral motion trying to determine whether or not it's required that the motion that the state has made orally should be in writing.
I just would observe the last setting we had was it was reset to give them the opportunity to get the witness. The last setting that we had was reset.
Okay, now, is that correct, state?
I mean, in the sense that it was reset for a trial setting.
It was reset for, so this is not this is the first trial setting for the, what is the first trial setting? The last setting was an announcement?
Well, it
The
was,
last thing was a jail docket.
right, and I said,
Oh.
we'll do a bench trial.
Wait.
We'll do a bench trial
Wait a
of that day.
minute.
Jail room, and then
Hold on, let me see something right quick. We had you saying a bench trial. Hold on a minute.
I think Mr. McClellan's indicating this will be his fourth reset.
Yeah, maybe, the case is only, what,
We did 95 days. 95 days.
Well,
They put the bid, when did they put the parole on?
Immediately, as soon as you get arrested,
They automatically,
that automatically on the state, you just get arrested.
hold on.
well, they get the 91 day.
Hold on. Shoot.
This
This case is, you say 90, this case is, the file age of this case is only 62 days.
No, no, the 91 day rule on parole is if they don't.
Oh,
they don't-
oh.
I've been locked up.
Oh, but that was because of parole, not this case.
Right.
Well, this only, I guess it's been filed 60,
If
about
they
2
had,
months ago.
if they had to file the case, they would have released him after
Right.
91 days.
Okay,
The 91 day rule.
okay.
But they got it filed relatively fast.
Okay, hold on a minute.
How many times you been up to court? This is your 4th time? Yeah.
First two, they said that we said that they were trying to find a witness, but
Mhm.
Hold on a minute, let me see. Okay, hold on a minute, let me get.
That's what he's looking at. The resets.
Wow, oh, here we go.
It looks like the waiver of jury trial was signed at the last setting that we had previously, and that was the very same day that trial waivers and subpoenas were sent by the state. I made sure to get those out the very same day that we set those.
Yeah, apparently, he was arrested on this case. Looked like, in this case, I mean, I'm looking at when the warrant was returned,
He was arrested.
warrant closed on, April 10th.
He's arrested March 9th. They put a parole hold on him.
Yeah, but that wasn't for
Right,
our
I
case, that was for something else, I mean,
the warrant came out April.
yeah, our case didn't start until, well, he was arrested here on April 10th, which was about, 2 months ago. Actually,
He's been in jail since March 9th.
yeah, but that was on a parole hold. He wasn't on jail for this misdemeanor. This misdemeanor, I'm looking at, hold on a minute. Oh, let me look at
He
it.
was arrested on the misdemeanor and the accusation probably ran.
Yeah, it ran up, it was up in 3 days.
Right.
Yeah,
But parole
so,
picked it up
for parole,
after the accusation.
right. Cause
Before the accusation.
this case was not filed until, it looked like it was, April the 9th. No, April 10th of 2025. Either April, May, June. So we only, this case is only 2 months,
Right.
it's 2 months old. And then, we came and filed, where is it? Apartment accounts, where is it? It's a the waiver was filed a month, well,
2 weeks ago.
Yeah. May 22nd of 2025.
Right.
Yeah,
And they will set it for a bench trial today.
right. So, court is inclined to grant the motion.
Can we have a relatively short reset period then, Your Honor, since he has a jail?
How can we, how much time are we talking?
That's, I would, as little as possible from my end, just to review.
May, I guess
The state would defer to the court on the timetable. We're going to continue reaching out to the complaining witness. So whatever the court.
okay, because I know, I guess the last time it was reset, it was May 22nd. That's when was it reset on that day when the waiver was signed?
Yes, that's the state representative, they need time to find their witness, which I, appreciate.
Right, and that was about, what, 2 weeks ago?
A little over, but yeah. No problem.
You could talk to the attorney if you have anything that you'd like to say to the court.
My understanding, they were gonna try to find their witness within the time period that was reset to.
Well, I understand that, but
Did we-
apparently they didn't get a response.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Well, then
So-
why didn't they ask for more time when we did the waiver? That's what I was thinking, is when we did the waiver, then they would have the amount of time that the court
I
allotted
understand.
to find the witness. They didn't find it until we had the bench trial.
Right.
Yeah. So we have a lawyer.
What's the date of 12?
Otherwise he'd be in there.
What, how we look at that? First of all, we need to make, hold on a minute. Yeah, that's.
And that's on the radar too.
Okay, so we're gonna agree to reset that. Okay, so you said a week of the 23rd? What day of the,
That would also be a complete 30 days after the initial signing of the.
I think I actually have a vacation letter in for that week, but
you do?
I'll waive that and be here the 23rd.
Okay, and what time are we gonna set it?
It's up to
That
y'all.
day. What time y'all wanna set? Because is that a jail run day for us? Oh, it's a Monday.
But like I said, that's the only thing I have, because I'll come up here for that, because I've got a vacation letter in for that week.
Do we have a jury coming in that day?
We do.
You saying like early, that morning or what?
That's fine, whatever time you want to do it.
Okay, we can set it at,
What we can do is set it for the 23rd, and at that point, if I don't have a witness, we can, state would dismiss the case. But
okay,
if we do have a witness, then the bench trial could take place later that week. Would that work?
No, because I've got a,
he got
the
that
vacation.
vacation letter. So,
Okay, well, then.
No, let's
we
do
can- We, I mean, if the court thinks we can take care of it in the morning, then I would likely only have one witness.
yeah,
all right,
okay, we'll do
So
that.
the
Just set it for the
23rd.
23rd. Okay,
all right, see you later.
okay, we'll send you your reset, Mr. Kibler.
Yes.
Okay, okay,
United States and try.
Brandy's gonna cover for me.
Hey, nobody's gonna
23rd,
do it.
okay, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, this will conclude the calling of the court's docket on today's date, June 12th of 2025 in County Court at Law Number 2. Judge Terrence L. Holmes presiding. Everyone, please have a blessed day. Prosecutors, you're excused. Mr. Kimler, you are excused.